And when you don't have the sports, when you don't have the team, the camaraderie, and the buddies and everything that are counting on you to show up, you get into other stuff.
I totally agree. I mean, one thing I always say, like, the best ability is availability. So if you're not there, hey, someone's looking to take your spot.
Welcome back to the Talk Midland podcast. My name is Logan Richetti with Realty. Today I have my old buddy from way back in the day.
Yes, sir.
Marshall Gray with the Midland Soccer Club.
Yep. Thanks for having me on, Logan. I appreciate it.
No doubt. Okay, so let's go way back because you and I go way back to the Midland Soccer Club. You're a little older than me, but we've been out there balling, shooting goals and scoring goals and stopping goals for 20, 30 years now. And now you are in a leadership role at the Midland Soccer Club. What is that?
So right now, I just kind of got a promotion, and I'm the head of operations and the executive business director out there at the club.
Very cool. Congrats on that.
Thanks. Hey,
So-
I think our parents might have. I think your mom and my mom played some old lady soccer.
Old lady soccer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
They did. I remember that. And my mom was my coach for
Yeah.
a while when I was a kid. We have a lot of fond memories of the old green and white shirts, the jerseys. And Modern Realty, I think you might know this. We did some sponsorship out there a couple of years ago. We put that scoreboard out there. It's got the Modern Realty logo, and we had a couple jerseys with the Modern Realty name on the sleeve, which was cool. But yeah, I think your mom and my mom were, they played the adult soccer league when they were probably our age now.
Mm-hmm.
And I played soccer as early as 4 or 5 years old out there, I believe. And now my daughter Finley's out there.
Okay.
And
great.
so she loves it.
Yeah.
Almost as much as her dad loves watching it. But she just did the summer camp.
Okay.
Which is cool.
Junior Academy during the summer.
Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Okay, so if you could, a lot of people know about the Midland Soccer Club. It's a staple in Midland. It's right off of Jefferson, and everybody's heard of it, and everybody knows the logo. But could you do break down a little bit about exactly what is all involved? Because there's all kinds of ages. There's clubs. There's private. There's public. Can you tell us what's going on over there?
So yeah, I think everyone knows about the soccer club, but not everyone really truly knows about how we're organized and how we run. We have programs that start at U4, like your daughter started in, and they go all the way up to U19 at the youth level. We have adult programs. So we have our rec programs that go U4 to U19, and then we have our travel programs that go U9 all the way up to U19. So when you make the adjustment, if you want to continue playing soccer at a higher level, you'll come up and you'll be part of the travel programs. They start in mid-Michigan, so U9, U10 is a mid-Michigan league where you're primarily playing Bay City, Saginaw, Mount Pleasant, Alma. Even now, the league has grown so much, it's up to Northern Michigan Football Club, which is up in Petoskey. T-Base has teams, so that's Traverse City. So it's a little bit about some of the programming there. We have year-round programming as far as academies, like you're talking about Finley was part of. Got a lot of men's leagues, women's leagues, co-ed leagues. All those play a role as part of the programming process. But as far as operational-wise, from the soccer club standpoint, our programs, our sponsorships, and people's donations basically are how we run. They cover all of our funding or all of our operational expenses. So those funds are put towards that, and then hopefully we have a surplus and we can invest more things back into the soccer club.
See, I didn't realize that until a couple of years ago. I was approached to do some sponsorship, and I looked into it. I didn't realize that's how the Midland Soccer Club was funded, through donations and campaigns like that. But let's go back a little bit to the different structures. So it sounds to me like you have a rec league, which is just your average run-of-the-mill, just getting into it, enjoying it, having fun. And that's what Finley is involved in right now. She started at U4, so it's co-ed at U4, it's co-ed at U5, and then after 5 it goes just to boys and then girls. Is that right?
Yep. So U4 and U5 are co-ed. U6 and U7 are split up, boys and girls. U8, U9 are boys and girls separate as well. And then when you get to the high school ages, they go back to co-ed.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then is there a fall and a spring season?
Yep. So we tend to get anywhere between 1,100 to 1,400 kids in the rec program in the fall, and the numbers are pretty consistent in the spring season as well.
Now, I also noticed that all those teams have coaches who are volunteers.
Yep. Our rec program is all those teams are run by volunteer coaches.
I will say, because Finley's mom, Meredith, has been her coach since she started, and that's a lot of work. She does the practices, she does the scheduling, she does the coordination with all the the moms and the dads and everything, and then she's got to run the game with, getting all the kids in by quarter and the timeouts and everything. And
for sure.
It's hurting cats at 4 and 5. It's not really competitive. It's just fun. But there's a lot of volunteers that are involved in that.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that drives our soccer club is the volunteers, whether it's our board of directors or for our fusion program, we have team managers. For the rec program, all the coaches are volunteers. So with the amount of number of players we have probably throughout the course of a year anywhere between 800 to 900 volunteers.
That is just incredible. And then there's some big events over the course of the year, right? I think it was the Mother's Day tournament. Is that right?
Yep. So right now we're ramping up for our Fusion Invitational Tournament, which is our FIT tournament, and that'll be the weekend after Labor Day. And then we have our Mother's Day tournament in the spring, and we get anywhere between 150 to 175 teams come and play.
Okay, because I remember volunteering as in the concession stand.
Yep.
I've done that before, and I think the Midland Soccer Club needs volunteers for operating those tournaments over the weekend, right? They got to have what do you need?
So basically during that tournament, the way we have it structured is those are two of our money-making tournaments.
Yeah.
So rather than have to hire people to come in and work the concession stand, we have an extensive spreadsheet, volunteer sheet, where the parents of the Fusion players, which is our travel program, will volunteer to work concessions, work field marshals where you check teams in. They'll be volunteer coordinators. They'll go pick up food. So that's a pivotal role of those tournaments as well, as the parents volunteer. Now they have an option to buy out where they can pay $50 to $75, and then one of their kids can come help and volunteer to fill in the spot. But yeah, it takes a lot to run those tournaments.
While you're talking, I'm just thinking in my head how to coordinate all that. How to coordinate all the different teams, all the different schedules, all the different logistics, all the volunteers, all the sport, all the food, all the field marshals talking, getting everybody organized. The referees, right?
Yep.
Those are paid positions, I assume.
Referees are paid positions. Yep.
So you got to recruit and attract referees. You got to train referees, where they got to be trained and certified, I assume, to some extent. And then they got to be coordinated and scheduled. They got to be paid.
Yep.
People don't show up. They get sick. They get confused. They show up at the wrong places. So who's overseeing all that, making it all happen?
So we've got a great team at our soccer club. Our technical director is named George Hajay. He's in charge of our tournaments as well. We hire people to help with the tournaments, but George really sees everything behind that. So recruiting the teams to come in, setting up all the tournament schedules, George does that. We have Tom Kodum. He's the head of our referees. So he gets all those referees, all those fields, make sure everyone's assigned to those, and he actually does that year-round for us. So he's pivotal role there. We have we've got a new office girl that's working on that stuff, so she helps with the volunteer scheduling and all that. We also have an accountant in our office who helps pay all the referees. So between all of us, me, head of operations, getting field set up, field maps, that type of stuff, between everybody, it works.
So all this team, are they housed on campus there, or are they housed offsite, or they do work remotely, or how does that work? Is there an office in that big building there?
Yep. So there's an office in our 901 building, and basically that's our headquarters for the tournament as well.
Is there something going on with that building? You guys are doing a renovation, or you're building a new building? What's happening?
So a little bit of history, kind of, fill you in on that. So the club started in 1977, nonprofit club, like I said before, all self-funded. We continue to grow year after year. In 2003, we expanded our East Fields and built that 901 building, put concession stand in there, and also bathrooms in the 401 building, which was the original building, which is down closer to Jefferson. Mm-hmm. And continue to grow and continue to grow. And part of strategic plan was to build our own indoor facility, and we're going through that process right now.
No doubt. Where is this indoor facility going to go, and what does it entail? Is this public yet?
It is public. Yep. So we're looking to put it behind the current 901 building, so the second building off Soccer Drive. Utilize some of our assets that we have in our 901 building to kind of limit costs and cut back on that. As far as maybe we're probably going to have to put in more bathrooms, but utilize some of our office space and that type of things. We got a building committee put together. We've narrowed it down to 4 contractors that we're meeting with next week, general contractors, and then eventually we'll pick one general contractor to lead the project. We've got 5 people on the building committee. We brought in Ann Fillmore from Omnitech to help us with fundraising committee. So everything's kind of falling into place and tying up loose ends. But yeah, we're very far in the project right now.
901, is that the one that's around the circle?
Yep,
the circle
right around the circle, yeah.
So when you say is it going to be directly attached to that building, or is it going to be its own separate structure?
That's part of what we're working on right now, and some of the questions we'll have. It'll be to be determined, but yeah, just it'll be close enough so we can utilize the 901 building. Part of the process.
Very cool. I mean, a lot of people who grew up in Midland played in the Midland Soccer Club.
Right.
Everybody did.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, but now as an adult, so you and I are looking down now versus looking up at this, because we used to be 5 looking up. Now we're looking down with our kids and having our kids participate in these events. And I never realized how much my parents really had to coordinate our schedules just to make these things happen for us.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I played. You played baseball too, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So we we don't realize it now as adults. Now we do, but as kids, I don't think they realize how much of your schedule, your work week, your logistics revolve around getting your kids to and from practice, to and from games, buying jerseys, buying supplies and cleats and balls, and then volunteering for the events because you have to, because you got to contribute. Even in high school, I remember we had to volunteer for the baseball team just to keep the concession stands going and all those things. But the point is, it's a labor of love for the parents to provide these things for the kids, and the kids get to benefit from these wonderful institutions like the Midland Soccer Club that Midland offers. And I think it's a very special part of Midland. At least it is for me and a lot of people that have played. You agree?
I totally agree. And I'm blessed to even have the opportunity to grow up, play at the soccer club, and now give back and be a part of like the vision and the future of the soccer club. That's what's rewarding to me. And whether it's my day-to-day job up there or coaching 2 travel teams, which I do, it's a labor of love, and being able to affect young kids and young adults and teach them things outside of just the realm of playing the game of soccer. A lot of things, handling adversity, that type of stuff you stress, as so they can, they're not going to play soccer their whole lives, but as they move on to college, hey, these are some of the things that I learned, teamwork, that type of stuff that will help me as I grow older and, be a parent like we are,
Well, you learn about winning and losing. I remember a very fond memory I had with my dad was building a trophy case.
Okay, yeah.
For all of my Midland Soccer Club trophies.
Yeah.
And, back when I was 12 years old, I can remember, I don't know what age it was, but I remember putting all these things into grocery bags and bring them into my classroom for show and tell. That's how proud I was of the Midland Soccer Club trophies. You know what I'm talking about? The little ones?
Definitely, yeah.
So I got a question for you now. Do they still are trophies still part of the conversation, or is that not really how they do it anymore?
So when the rec program gets up to the U12 level, so U11, U12, the boys and the girls get awarded trophies.
The winning teams?
The winning teams get trophies, and then the U15 and the U19 age groups also get trophies.
So how does that work? Is there a regular season then a playoff, or is it just a regular season?
Just a regular season.
So it's just like college football without the playoff, right?
College football without the playoff. You're right.
So best record gets the trophy for winning. So there is a reward of winning and losing, but it sounds like there's a balance between the competitive nature of it and the enjoyability of it, right?
Most definitely. And that's one thing we look at is as the kids progress through the program, if they want something a little more higher level, then we got to try the Fusion program. But you'd be surprised, that rec program is really competitive.
No doubt.
Really competitive.
Well, let's talk about the Fusion program for a minute, because I remember I did play travel soccer for a while. I remember in my childhood progression, I can't remember what age it was, probably 9, 10, 11, 12 maybe?
Yep.
Is that where it kind of starts?
That's what starts, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I was okay, but what I recall now looking back was how intense the travel team, the select team was versus the recreation team. It is a different level. There's a little bit, the kids that are playing in that level are very committed to soccer. They're working hard on it. They're very competitive, and they want to go travel. They want to compete, and they want to play with, maybe a higher caliber or just a different environment than the fun and the recreational league, right?
Right, exactly. So the rec league, you'll have 1 practice a week, and then you'll have your games on the weekend. Now, the travel at the U9, U10, they'll practice 2 times a week and then have their games on the weekend. And obviously, like I had mentioned before, they're traveling more locally in just the Great Lakes Bay region. As you progress up, like the teams I coach, U19 and U17 girls, we practice 3 times a week. and then we have our weekend.
So how does that coordinate with, say, Dow and Midland High soccer team? Are these kids playing high school soccer and travel, or are they picking one or the other, or how does that work?
So basically right now, our girls, the high school age girls, are playing travel soccer, and then they'll play high school soccer in the spring.
Okay, so the spring season for high school soccer, boys and girls, is the spring. Excuse me.
Boys, yeah. So
I got it
boys
wrong?
plays in the fall, high school,
Oh.
and they play spring soccer for travel.
Oh.
So it's vice versa. It goes back and
So
forth.
the girls and the boys, they have the alternate schedule.
Alternate schedule.
And they do that, I assume. Everybody's coordinated that so that the kids can have the choice to play both.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. Yep.
So the
definitely.
off season for the high school season is when they do the travel.
Yep.
And then vice versa. Wow, that's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. And one thing obviously you're a multi-sport athlete. You played multi-sports growing up, and I'm not a big proponent of specializing in one sport. So the way I juggle some things with my high school girls or high school boys, if you're playing another sport, communicate to me. I'm not going to tell you not to play that other sport, because in the grand scheme of things, it's going to make you more of a well-rounded athlete, and you're going to benefit in the long run.
Well, that's a more of a progressive opinion, I think, than it used to be. Because back in my day, our day, when 20 years ago, 25 years ago, whatever, we were told, or at least I was told, you got to focus. You got to do one thing. You got to do it as well as you can. And I had, I was trying to get that college baseball scholarship, trying to go to that.
Yeah, you did.
And which was great. And
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm grateful for
Yeah.
that. But looking back, I do have a lot of regrets that I didn't get into football more. I didn't try some other sports that I probably should have tried. And I do agree with you that I think kids today, they need to have more than one opportunity to try different sports, and maybe, I don't know, I guess it's up to the kid and it's up to the parents
Right.
where they want to focus. But I think it's good to at least consider having more sports. And coaches like you that are encouraging and supportive of that is very helpful, because a lot of coaches, I don't know about today, but back in my day, you weren't going to play football. You weren't going to play basketball because you
Right.
got to be at the off-season workouts and the off-season trainings and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And they don't want you to get hurt, and they don't want you to lose focus, and they want you to practice. So I think it's great that you're willing to do that. Are a lot of coaches in your age range that you're coaching with now, do they have the same opinion or the same philosophy, or how does that work?
I think it just depends on which club you're at. I know with our club being a nonprofit club, our main focus is player development. And like I tell any team I'm coaching, I'm like, hey, if you want to make the JV soccer team, my goal is going to help you to do that. If you want to make the varsity team, I'm going to try to help you to do that. If you want to take it to the next level, want to play in college, I'm going to help you do that too. So it basically puts the onus on the player, like how much do they, how dedicated they want to be. And so that's kind of the process that I go through and that we use at our soccer club. There's other clubs that are, hey, gung-ho, you're playing soccer year-round, this and that. And the way I see it is by the time they hit 15, 16, they're burnt out. Back to some of the type coaches that you were referring to earlier, the kids are going to burn out, and
Well, you used to coach, or at least volunteer, high school baseball at Dow, right?
I've coached a lot of different sports. Yeah.
Well, all right, let's go to that one real quick, because when I volunteered way back, it's probably 10 years ago now.
we were there together.
Yeah, we were there same time. I remember that, and you were already there, and you'd been there for a while, and I was just kind of chipping in where I could because I was trying to help Kip Harris, your buddy, and my buddy too. But man, those kids, the baseball kids, by the end of the year, baseball is a spring sport, right? It starts, March, April, whatever, February. And those guys are playing other sports too, and they're usually burned out by the time they get to baseball season, or at least a lot of them were, in my experience. So I think that's very realistic. It's really right on, is that these kids need a break. They need to change it up. They need to do different things. But let me ask you a question, because you've been involved in sports since you were a kid. You were an awesome athlete back in the day. I remember, you probably still are. But how did you get into coaching? What was your coaching journey? How did it start? And kind of take us through it.
Okay, so once my playing career kind of ended after college, I was playing men's league.
What sport did you take to college?
So I played soccer for 4 years at Alma College, and I played baseball for 2 years at Alma.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So they let you play two sports too.
Yeah. So, playing baseball growing up, obviously I pitched. I played first base. Once I got to college, he wanted me to focus more on pitching. So that was, and he knew I was training and stuff with the soccer, playing soccer year round. So, that obviously helps. But, it was a great experience playing there, and I got the opportunity to do that. And then captain my junior and senior year in college, and for soccer. And as it progressed, you build relationships just like in life. And I got a chance to come back and started coaching basketball at Dow High, JV basketball, and then Coach McDonald was a mentor. I think mentor for me, so I got to coach varsity basketball at Dow High as well. you know how it is. Like when you have a really good coach growing up and you have good coaches, it teaches you the lessons and to be a good coach. And that's kind of how, I got back into it, coached there. And then I went over to Arthur Hill for a year, coached basketball over there. Great experience. And went on to Delta College and coached associate head coach over there for 5 years.
For basketball?
For basketball, yeah. Meanwhile, I was always kind of coaching soccer, and then got the opportunity to come back to Midland Soccer Club and do that. So
were you teaching at the same time?
No, I was not teaching at the same time.
Okay, so you was coaching your...
Just coaching, and I was working at the soccer club as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been associated with the Midland Soccer Club for a long time?
For basically my whole life. But
wow.
I think I've been on the payroll there now probably 15 years.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So this is a new promotion?
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Excited.
Cool. You're
really
excited
about it. Yeah.
Well, every time I'm out there, I see you.
Yeah.
You're out there all the time.
Yeah. Ask my wife. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's like I said, I'm blessed to be able to be out there all day long, build relationships, and then get back out there at night to coach the kids, coach the young adults. And, going back to what you kind of talked about, like the demand of sports and the demand of, all that type of like stress of sports. At the same time, the emphasis still needs to be on academics and let kids be kids. If you're going to miss a practice just because you're tired, you need to like regroup, dude, that's understandable, because when you talk about pushing kids to the next level, like we were referring to earlier, the number one question out of a college coach's mouth is, hey, how are the grades? How are your grades?
Really?
So it's kind of like, yeah. And that's one thing I was blessed to do was coaching at Delta College. I'd recruit high school players and then push those kids after 2 years onto 4-year programs. So you get to see both sides of things. And I think learning lessons from that has really helped me coaching at the soccer club and pushing kids onto the next level.
Well, as somebody who was recruited out of high school for baseball, I remember a little bit, not crazy, but I remember those conversations, and I remember preparing for those conversations my sophomore, junior, and senior year, and doing everything that I could to get my grades as attractive as they could be. Because the better your grades and the better your record and your resume and all those things, the more attractive you are to the university or to the college that you're trying to attend.
Right.
And these coaches, if at least it was back in my day, our day, they're looking at, they have a limited number of paid scholarships, so they play this game of academic scholarships and scholastic, whatever you call them, sports scholarships. So you are more valuable to a college if they can use their academic package to help subsidize your cost, right?
Right.
And they can hang on to their scholarship offers for other kids that need it differently. In other words, you're a full package. You're being looked at as a full package when you're in high school going into college. So you need to make sure that you're doing everything you can to be as attractive as possible so that you can be as valuable as possible to the place that you're trying to get, right? Because, when you're getting recruited, you want to go some places and you're hoping they want you to, and it's a relationship, and, you're sending tapes and you're sending letters and they're sending you letters and all this stuff going on. But yeah, you have to have good grades, or at least you're much more attractive if you do, right?
Right.
And that goes back to, I remember, I don't know about you, but you made it all the way from, middle school to high school into college, and you had a thriving college scholastic and sports career, which is very unusual because there's this pinnacle here. Most kids, you at some point you reach the end of your pinnacle and that's it. You go on to, men's league and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's really impressive when guys and gals can get to college and through college playing a sport. One of the things I remember from high school, I don't know about you, I'd love to hear your opinion. My attendance was perfect during baseball season. Okay. I didn't miss a day of school during baseball season because I wasn't going to miss a practice and I wasn't going to miss a game.
Right.
Because if you didn't go to school that day, you couldn't practice. If you couldn't practice, you couldn't play. That's how it was back then. So my point is that having a relationship to sports and a dedication to a sports career, or at least interest in sports, keeps you on the right track in terms of schoolwork. And when you don't have the sports, when you don't have the team, the camaraderie, and the buddies and everything that are counting on you to show up, you get into other stuff.
I totally agree. I mean, one thing I always say, like, the best ability is availability. So if you're not there, hey, someone's looking to take your spot.
I like that.
It sets up a structure in your schedule. Like, hey, I got practice. That means, hey, I got to get my academics. I get my homework done. If I got to talk to a boyfriend or girlfriend, I better knock that out. And then, hey, focus now, practice. Yep. And that's one cool thing about practice. And, you get throughout the course of a season, you got, it becomes a grind. And that's one thing that I try to promote and try to like emphasize is like, hey, by the time we're halfway through the season, like this is a player-run team. You guys should be holding each other accountable. You guys are in charge of this stuff. Like I'm here to manage and I'm here to do that, but like this team should be player-ran at this point.
Wow.
So that's one of the things I try to pride myself on as a coach. And, you know, like I said, you've got the grind of a season, but in the grand scheme of things, an hour 30, hour 45-minute practice, you can put everything aside, all your worries, like we said, boyfriend, girlfriend stuff. You got a test tomorrow. Hey, just leave that at the door. Come have fun with your teammates and then, you know, relax and have some fun. So
how do you run a practice for, say, a U17 or a U19, a team that's a little bit more competitive on the travel side? What's a typical practice like?
So one thing that me and several other coaches at the soccer club really emphasize is technical skills. You know, if you can't dribble a ball or knock a pass from here to the window, we're not going to succeed. So the first 20, 25 minutes are technical skill based. And then we'll get into some small-sided stuff and focus on some things we got to work on as a team. And then the last 20 to 30 minutes, it'll be a structured type scrimmage.
Oh, man, I love scrimmage.
Yeah, that's what every kid, hey, coach, when we scrimmage it? When we scrimmage it? Well, we got to knock this stuff out first because, hey, our scrimmage is going to be garbage unless we can do this stuff. And
you guys have the little mesh shirts that they wear? Like
pennies?
Yeah, is that what they call pennies?
Pennies,
like what was that short for?
I don't know. Pennies,
but that's the name.
It's the name. I don't know. Pennies. Yeah,
pennies.
For sure. Yep.
Yeah, it used to be shirts and skins back in the old days. Now it's pennies, right?
Now it's pennies, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Looks a little more structured. Looks better if you got pennies on, but yeah.
All right, so I remember soccer a little bit, but not enough to be articulate in this question. But what's a typical structure for positions now? You got the forwards, the midfield, and the defenders, and then you got somewhere in between a stopper and a
stopper sweeper. Yeah, the old diamond. Yeah, that's a good call. So there's many different formations, and I try to coach the team to the formation that best fits our personnel. Obviously, we don't have the luxury of being a college coach where I'm just recruiting. I need this spot filled, so I'm going to recruit you. But so any formation, you can run a 3-5-2, so 3 in the back with 5 midfielders and two forwards. Or traditional formation right now is a 4-3-3, so 4 in the back, 3 midfielders, 3 forwards, or a 4-4-2, where it's 4 in the back, 4 midfielders, and 2 forwards. So we've gotten away from the sweeper stopper. That's old school.
Yeah,
but it's just new terminology.
The sweeper, which one was the more of the forward-facing one? Which was more like the last line of defense?
Last line of defense was usually the sweeper.
The sweeper.
The stopper kind of sat in front of them, so it was kind of more of a diamond shape.
And now they're in the middle. They'd be more of the midfielders.
So now with a 3-5-2, so you have 3 in the back, you'd have more of a flat 3, and then you have one player in front.
So what would you? So the 3 in the back, you go left defense, right defense, and center defense.
Yeah,
center D.
There's some numbers they put to it, because it's a numbering system now. So like your 9's your center forward, your 7 or 11 are your outside wings. It's just more of a structured thing they've gone to. And George Hage, our technical director, is really given us as coaches the freedom to design our practice plans, design things so that it'll fit our team, and we play to the strengths of our teams, regardless of the formation.
Things change like that over time. If you watch a college baseball game or, like I watched the College World Series a couple months ago, and they're looking at their watches, and they're getting the calls through the ears and stuff.
It's crazy.
Things just change. They're not like they used to be in terms of technique, strategy, approach to the game and whatnot. So I think that's wild how the game itself evolves over time. Have you seen a lot of that in your 20 years?
I've seen a ton of that. And to piggyback off you on the baseball, like outfielders have those things now. So they know what pitch is coming.
Yeah. So they can move left or right or back or forward.
Like back in the day, we'd always think, oh, he's on the mound. All right, so he's going to, 0-2 pitch. He's going to go away. So I'm going to shade this way. So, but now it's crazy.
That's just wild.
In the structure of our soccer club, the way George has designed it, where you go from a 7v7 to a 9v9 to 11v11 as you progress up. It's basically the simple formation stays the same. You're just adding an extra player in.
Well, that's another benefit of coming up through the ranks of the same organization is they're teaching similar concepts all the way up the chain, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So if you're a parent and you have a kid 4, 5, 6 years old, they all start in the recreational league.
Yep.
There's no advanced higher level travel until you get to 9.
So basically, the first travel program they'll have is U9, so you'll be 7 or 8, and you can play on the U9 team.
You can play up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to play up.
Mm-hmm.
You did that too?
Yeah, play it up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But with the structure of way things are going with other clubs that are for profit and are really trying to get more people in their program, they're starting to go even at younger ages, U6, U5 travel. And to try to, George has done a great job at trying to adapt our programming around that, like offering more opportunities for camps like Finn was in. One other thing with our new building, like we can do year-round programming, not just soccer, but we can cater to other sports in Midland as well that need that inside space. But yeah, some of these clubs have gone to like travel at that younger age, but traditionally at our soccer club, it's U7, or 7 or 8 years old, and they can play on the U9 team.
Let's talk about corporate sponsorships real quick.
Yeah, no problem.
Can businesses still sponsor a team? Do they? How can businesses be involved?
Okay, so basically the sponsorship structure at our soccer club right now, we don't have direct sponsorships of teams. I know some of the hockey leagues go with that. What we don't want to get into is basically like this team's getting all this team's not getting that. So it'll come to the soccer club and then basically pass down to those teams, to the teams in general.
All the funds come into one central location, then they get distributed accordingly to need and all that down the chain. Okay. What are the sponsorship opportunities that corporations, small businesses locally can have? I know when you drive by there's some signage.
Yep, there's some signage. We have right along Jefferson, we have our electronic sign that you can be on. There's field signs. Modern Realty is still out on all our field signs. You can sponsor like the rec jerseys, like Modern Realty did in the past. Sponsor some concession stands. So one year, Blazy Electric sponsored our concession stand. So we created a little sheet that the kids could come get a different item each week. Because awesome. I've coached my 4-year-old daughter, and the first thing she wants to do after a game is, hey, let's go to concession stand.
No doubt.
So there's opportunities with that. And then with the new building coming on right now, there's all sorts of sponsorships available, and you can find those on our website and or reach out to us at the club, and we can fill you in more on those. One other thing that kind of ties into it is, regardless of your socioeconomic status, we don't turn anyone away. So as the years have progressed, we give more and more scholarships out to players, rec players or fusion players. So we've really started to, really take a look at that need and continue to provide that need. But obviously we need the money coming in. So some corporations have sponsored players, or this would go to the rec fund. We've got a golf outing coming up in September that I'm heading up, that most of that money will go towards our scholarship funds.
Tell us about the golf outing coming up. I've seen advertisements all over the place for that. What's the scoop?
So it's at Curry Golf Course, September 23rd. We wanted to do it in the fall because who doesn't like fall golf? But we didn't want it to affect the weekend play of our players, whether to travel or rec. So we're having it on Monday, September 23rd.
And how do you get involved in that? Play in it, sponsor it? How do you get involved?
Just get on our website or contact us. We already have a decent amount of sponsors already. Looking for more players for sure.
What's the website?
MidlandSoccerClub.org.
Marshall Gray, thank you for being on the Talk Midland podcast.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.